Imagine, for a moment, you're walking down a quiet side street in Tokyo. The sun has set, the neon glow of the main thoroughfare is a distant hum, and the air is starting to cool. You pass noodle shops with their curtains drawn, quiet houses with glowing windows, and then you see it. A building that looks different from the others. It has an ornate, sweeping roof, almost like a temple, and a soft light spills from behind a sliding wooden door. You approach, and as you slide that door open, the entire world outside just vanishes. The city noise is replaced by a gentle quiet. The cool night air gives way to a comforting warmth, a humidity that feels cleansing. It's a space filled with the clean, simple sense of soap, of cedarwood, and something else, something ancient and deeply peaceful. You've just stepped into a Sento, a traditional Japanese public bathhouse. Your eyes adjust to the soft light, and you begin to take in the details. The floor is tiled, slick with moisture. The first sound you register is the gentle, rhythmic lapping of water, echoing in the high-ceilinged room. Then you hear the low murmur of conversation, voices that are relaxed, unhurried, the soft clatter of a wooden bucket on the stone floor. And then you look up, and you see it. Spanning the entire main wall, a magnificent hand-painted mural of Mount Fuji, its snow-capped peak standing proud against a clear blue sky. It's a silent guardian, watching over this simple yet somehow sacred space. It's a scene that feels like it could be from 100 years ago or from yesterday. It's both ordinary and extraordinary. So, you have to ask yourself, what is it about this place? How can a simple public bath hold such a profound place in the heart of Japanese culture? What is it that people are washing away here, beyond just the grime of the day? Well, that's the story we're here to uncover. So let's dive in, deep into the warm waters of the Sento, and explore the secrets held within these steamy walls. To really understand the soul of the Sento, we have to go back, way back, because this isn't just a building, it's a living piece of history. Its story is this incredible journey from a sacred spiritual act for a select few to an absolute cornerstone of daily life for millions. Our story begins over 1,000 years ago, in the 6th century. The first baths weren't for the public at all. They were inside Buddhist temples, places for monks to perform ritual purification, to cleanse the body as a way of cleansing the spirit. But then, Japan's cities began to grow. In 1591, in the bustling city of Edo, what we now call Tokyo, the very first commercial Sento opened its doors. And this is where things really took off. See, in the 17th century, cities like Edo were dense mazes of wooden houses. A fire could wipe out an entire neighborhood in hours. Having a private bath at home with its own fire to heat the water was an incredible risk. So the Sento became the solution. It wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. A safe, communal place to get clean. It became so essential that there was a bath in every town. This reached its absolute peak after World War II. In the 1960s, Tokyo alone had nearly 2,700 Sento. They were the beating heart of every neighborhood. But, as we'll soon discover, that golden age was facing a new kind of threat. The design of these early bathhouses was just a marvel of practical ingenuity. It was all about one thing, trapping heat and steam, which were incredibly precious resources. The very first bathhouses were called Todana Buro, and honestly, they were more like steam closets. Bathers would have to slide open a tiny door and crawl into this dark, confined space filled with steam rising from a shallow pool of hot water. Can you imagine? It was less of a relaxing soak and more of an intense steam session. This eventually evolved into the Zakurogochi style. The key innovation here was a very low entrance, only about a meter high. You'd have to duck down low to get in. But that simple design feature was brilliant. It created a natural barrier that kept all the precious steam inside the main bathing area. This meant the bath itself could be much larger, accommodating more people and becoming a more social space. It was this kind of clever, resource-conscious design that allowed the Sento to flourish. Then, in 1923, a catastrophe struck. The Great Kanto earthquake devastated Tokyo and the surrounding areas. But out of that tragedy, a powerful new identity for the Sento was born. As the city rebuilt, a new style of bathhouse emerged, the magnificent Miyazakuri style. The owners didn't just rebuild. They made a statement. They gave their Sento the same grand, ornate, sweeping roofs that you see on temples and shrines. And this was a profound choice. It wasn't just about aesthetics. It was a way of saying that the Sento was more than just a place to wash. It was a sanctuary for the community, a pillar of neighborhood life, as important and revered as a place of worship. It cemented the Sento's status as a true community landmark. But the architecture, the history, it all serves something deeper. The Sento is where a unique and beautiful Japanese cultural philosophy comes to life. It's a concept that can only really be understood when you strip away everything. Literally, your clothes, your status, your worries. This is the world of Hadaka no Tsukiyai, what we might call the naked relationship. Hadaka no Tsukiyai? The literal translation is naked relationship or naked communion, but that doesn't even begin to capture its true meaning. Think about all the things we use to define ourselves in the outside world. Our job titles, the clothes we wear, the car we drive, our family name. In the Sento, all of that is left in a locker with your clothes. Hadaka no Tsukiyai is about shedding those external layers of social identity. It's about creating a space where you can connect with someone on a purely human level, free from judgment, free from pretense. It's an emotional and social vulnerability that is incredibly powerful. Now, this requires a fundamental shift in perspective for many of us, especially from the West. In many cultures, nakedness is instinctively linked with shame, with vulnerability in a negative way, or with sexuality. But in the context of the Sento, it's the complete opposite. Here, nakedness equals trust. It's a silent, mutual agreement. It says, I am willing to be seen as I am, without my armor, and I trust you to do the same. It's a foundation of acceptance that allows for a different, more genuine kind of bond to form. And this is where it gets really beautiful. The Sento is the great equalizer. Just imagine it. A high-powered CEO, someone who commands boardrooms and makes million-dollar deals, could be sitting right next to a construction worker who spent the day covered in dust and sweat. In the world outside, they might never interact. They exist in different social strata. But here, sitting shoulder to shoulder in the same hot water, they are just two men, soaking, relaxing. Their social roles, their wealth, their status, it all just evaporates with the steam. For a little while, in this shared space, everyone is simply and profoundly equal. You know, the Sento also functions as a kind of informal classroom. It's where the unwritten rules of Japanese society are passed down. There's this fantastic story from the Sento to Machi organization, a group working to preserve these places. A young man, maybe 20 years old, was visiting a Sento for the first time. He was unsure of the rules, and he was about to step right into the main bath. Immediately, an elderly regular stopped him, not angrily, but firmly. He corrected him, explaining the most important rule. You must wash your body thoroughly before getting into the shared tub. That water is for soaking, not for cleaning. It's in these small, direct moments of intergenerational teaching that the values of respect, cleanliness, and community are upheld. It's how you learn the proper way to be. And if you look closely, you'll see that the Sento is a world filled with these beautiful symbolic details. Every single element, from the art on the walls to the wooden lockers, tells a piece of the story. It's a language all its own. And of course, the most iconic symbol of all is that magnificent mural of Mount Fuji. This whole tradition started back in 1912 at a bathhouse in Tokyo called Kikayu. The story goes that the owner wanted to do something to cheer up his patrons, especially the children, so he commissioned an artist to paint Japan's most beloved and majestic mountain on the wall. It was an instant hit. People loved it, and soon the idea spread like wildfire. Fujisan is a powerful symbol of longevity, of good fortune, of national identity. Having it watch over you as you bathe, it adds a sense of grandeur and permanence to the simple daily ritual. What's just as fascinating, though, is the art you don't see. There's a whole set of unwritten rules, a wonderful blend of superstition and clever wordplay that dictates what's appropriate for a Sento mural. For example, you'll almost never see monkeys painted on the wall. Why? Because the Japanese word for monkey is saru, which sounds exactly like the word for to leave. The owner doesn't want to imply that customers will leave. Same goes for sunsets. They're beautiful, but they suggest the sun and the business is sinking. And those vibrant red autumn leaves, momiji, they're avoided because their color suggests going into the red, which means losing money. It's this incredible subtle weaving of language, belief, and business that is just so deeply Japanese. But despite this rich history and deep cultural significance, this cherished tradition is in danger. The Sento is facing a quiet crisis, a struggle for survival in a world that has changed dramatically. But don't count it out just yet. A new generation is writing the next chapter, fighting to keep the warm waters of the Sento flowing. Let this number just sink in for a moment. From that vibrant post-war peak of almost 2,700 Sento in Tokyo, today, there are fewer than 500 left. That's not just a statistic. That's thousands of community hubs that have vanished, thousands of neighborhood living rooms that have closed their doors forever. It represents a profound shift in a way of life. So what happened? Well, it's a familiar story of modernization. After the war, as Japan's economy boomed, having a private bathroom in your own home became a symbol of middle-class success. The convenience was undeniable. At the same time, the costs of running a Sento, fuel for the boilers, constant maintenance, kept going up. Many of these buildings are old and need constant care, and the owners are getting older too. Running a bathhouse is hard work, with long hours. For many, their children chose different, less demanding careers, leaving no one to take over the family business. It was a perfect storm, threatening to wash the Sento away completely. But the story doesn't end there, because now a passionate new generation is stepping in. Young architects, designers, entrepreneurs, and artists who grew up with the Sento are refusing to let it fade away. They're breathing new life into these old spaces, reimagining them not as relics of the past, but as vital, essential community hubs for the 21st century. And the results are incredible. The Sento is being reborn. These old bathhouses are being transformed into dynamic, modern cultural centers. They're hosting health seminars, yoga and art classes, live music and DJ nights. Some even empty the tubs for a weekend and serve as unique pop-up restaurants or craft beer bars. They're finding creative ways to become the beating heart of their neighborhoods once again, connecting with people in ways that are both new and exciting. Leading this charge are dedicated groups like Sento Tumachi, which means Sento and Town. Their mission is brilliant. It's not just about restoring the beautiful historic buildings, fixing the tiles, and updating the plumbing. It's about weaving these bathhouses back into the very fabric of the community. They work to reconnect the Sento with its neighborhood, ensuring that it's not just preserved as a museum, but lives and breathes as a vital part of daily life once more. So as we finish our journey, we're left with a thought. In our modern world, a world that often feels more and more fragmented, more digital, and sometimes more lonely, what can we learn from the humble Sento? It offers us a simple yet profound lesson. It reminds us of the quiet power of shared physical spaces. It reminds us of the simple beauty of face-to-face human connection, unmediated by screens. And it shows us that sometimes the strongest communities are built in the most unassuming of places, gently, patiently, one restorative bath at a time.